I can't see without him. Hey, good morning, you guys. Trisha Turner here. It is Saturday morning. We are anything but average, achieving success in life. I have with you my good friend Renee this morning, and I'm super happy that she is here with you guys because she is so original, so genuine. She's just an amazing person. So thank you so much for being here on a Saturday morning, Renee.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I was very honored to be on your morning show. I love it.
Thank you. Hey, Renee, so everybody kind of knows a little bit about you. Tell everybody what you do for a living, where you are in the United States, and kind of a little bit about your backstory, please.
Sure. So I am a real estate agent. I am in Ohio. So we like to say in Cleveland, Ohio. That just kind of encompasses everything, right? But I'm pretty much in the suburbs of Cleveland, and I've been a realtor since 2008. So I actually entered the real estate business in a very squirrely market, right? So I learned to sell real estate when people were struggling, and I figured if I learned to sell real estate then, that I could sell real estate in any market. So, and that's what I've been doing. I started out as an investor. My husband was in the military, so he's a veteran. And while he was over fighting the good fight, we started investing in properties here in the Cleveland area, and started flipping, buy and holds, and then that just kind of organically lent itself to me getting my license and selling real estate. So,
are you still buying and selling houses? Are you still flipping?
Yeah, we only do, so I have 3 kids now of varying ages. So I have a 17-year-old who's a senior in high school. I have an 8-year-old who's a second grader, and then I have a 5-year-old who will be entering kindergarten. So I've got one leaving school and one entering school. So I've got this huge gamut there. We've got all the feelings in our household. Yeah. So now, yes, we still do invest, but we probably do maybe 1 or 2 flips a year. We definitely have a buy and hold strategy, and then we also have Airbnbs.
Oh, I love that. Okay, how many Airbnbs do you have?
Oh, we just have one that's up and running, and when all this hit, we were rehabbing another. So yeah, we have this vacant property that is like literally almost ready to go, and this whole COVID-19 hits, and the Airbnb business suffered significantly. We were lucky enough to have some folks that wanted to do their vacation plans got canceled, obviously. So they decided to do a staycation in one of our Airbnbs, which was really cool. So they stayed with us a month, and and then we have another Airbnb that we'll probably be making live by hopefully by next week.
I was on with Tammy Pack the other day, and she also does vacation rentals and stuff. And though a lot of people aren't traveling right now, and probably a lot of people won't be, like you and I were just talking about in the summer, right. I bet their vacation rental business is going to go through the roof because you can drive there with your family. You don't have to worry about people and their germs and stuff, But yours is going to be booked the whole summer.
Yeah. And you know what? It's interesting because we're not necessarily a vacation spot, but the individuals that come and stay with us, it's just, varying backgrounds. We're lucky enough to live near the Cleveland Clinic. So we have people that, if they're having family members are having surgeries, we have people that come and do long-term stays with us,
okay.
So that they're close to the hospitals. We have a lot of people that we have military that are coming back to visit their family. All kinds of walks of life that stay at our Airbnbs. It was very interesting when we opened it to see what kind of clientele we would have, and it's really been amazing.
So if you guys are buying Airbnbs, what kind of market are you in there? Are you in a seller's market, or is it an average market? What are you seeing?
Yeah, we are definitely in a seller's market. Inventory is extremely low. Our whole business model is we had rentals and long-term rentals. A lot of our tenants have been with us 10, 11, 12 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We've been super fortunate. And then we have some, some other rentals where we get a year or 2 stay out of the individuals. But so as our properties started, the tenants would move on, we said, well, is this a good spot to have an Airbnb? So that's kind of organically so we weren't necessarily purchasing Airbnbs. We were using our own inventory to create Airbnbs. So we have a good mix.
Do you find it's more profitable as an Airbnb?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. We've been able to, and again, we just went live with our very first Airbnb in October. And Cleveland in October is cool, right? So not necessarily vacation season, not necessarily a big travel season, but we've managed to stay pretty booked, and revenue is increased by 3 times. So yeah.
Very
So
significant right now when things are uncertain in the real estate world, you know?
extremely. And I love the fact that your eyes are on the property more often. It's being cleaned after every stay from top to bottom. So you really have the opportunity to maintain that property in a way that may have gotten away from you a little bit with a traditional rental. So we definitely like the business model, and we hope to continue to grow it.
So in Cleveland, Ohio, how has the coronavirus impacted your real estate business, would you say?
So we were one of the first states to actually shut down. Our governor was really, really proactive in it. And this was, when it first came out, everybody was kind of like, are they making too big of a deal about this? And I know there's still some people out there that feel that way. But I think the seriousness, grew over time. And our governor kind of stepped in and said, look, we're gonna go ahead and start shutting these schools down. This is not making sense to have these kids going. And then we were one of the first ones to kind of shut down. So we were watching other states still, go on and do their thing or whatever. And I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. And I'm truly grateful. Our governor stepped in, made really, really hard decisions, whichever side of the coin you land on, making too big of a deal out of it or not enough big of a deal. Our governor made the hard decisions. And that's what you want in a leader, right? You want a leader that can make hard decisions.
Yep.
And he did. And yeah, I mean, in terms of the real estate market, yes, did we have people that said, oh, like I don't, let me take my house off the market. I don't feel comfortable allowing people in. We were still deemed essential, so we were still allowed to conduct business. Yep. They were highly, highly encouraging us to do everything virtually as much as we could. They were still allowing us to do in-person showings. However, we did have a document that we required the buyers to sign that says, I do understand the risks that we're taking, and I understand the risk that I'm putting my realtor in.
Yes.
When that document came out, I'm like, wow, like that's impressive to me. Because typically be like, just raise your hand. I assume the risk on myself, but they really wanted the consumer to think about the other people they were putting at risk. So we were still allowed to do in-person showings. A lot of us, did virtual showings as well. No open houses, that would be considered a gathering. So many of us adapted and did virtual open houses. But the interesting thing is we still remained a seller's market. The people that have vacant homes, it's been amazing because the decision for them to stay live or take their house off the market, they're like, well, it's vacant. It's not affecting me as long as buyers want to come in. And those people have done very well for themselves. And we're still seeing houses go in multiple offers, selling over list price. I'm encouraging people that are not living in their homes. Maybe they are an investor and have inventory that they do want to get rid of or liquidate, that they do, because there's still people out shopping and the interest rates were still good. And
oh my gosh,
so, and to my buyers that are looking, I just tell them, look, you may still get multiple offer situations, but instead of getting into 9 other offers you're competing with, maybe it's just 5.
It's so crazy. Houston is not like that, but I mean, we still have a housing inventory shortage and we need homes on the market, period. It's a great time to buy and sell right now.
So completely agree. And there's always people going through life events. There's always people getting job transfers. There's always people wanting to move closer to family. There's people wanting to move further away from family. There's always life events that change, people having babies, the house is too small, people getting married, they want to come together. Those are the people I really feel for, the people that had weddings, scheduled. And having to postpone them. And some of them, just said, you know what, I really want to marry my partner, and they're just doing a small little intimate thing and then planning the party later, which I think is great. So
life has to go on. We have to continue moving forward. We don't stay paralyzed,
I agree
So
wholeheartedly.
now here, we're almost at the end of April. So May 1st here in Houston, well, we're already reopening a lot of different things, and they'll be even more open next week. But schools are not reopening. They've already announced that. And across the nation, there's a lot of schools that are not reopening. It's all done online. And so the other day you did a Facebook Live in your garage, and you shared a moment when you were vulnerable, and it was so raw and real. And I was glued to my phone watching you, because I just wanted to just sit in your car with you and be like mad and like, what the hell is going on? But I loved what you did, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I think there's so many other moms and dads that are going through the same thing. Their kid is supposed to graduate, and what is this? Why is this fair? So share a little bit about what brought you to that moment that made you go get in your car and share that moment with the world. And then how have you kind of moved on from that moment the other night?
Thank you. Wow. Yeah, it was a very emotional, and I can't even say it was an emotional minute. I mean, it had been building and building and building. So I have this senior who has done incredibly, incredibly well for himself in terms of staying disciplined. He's taken some of the most rigorous courses. He's in what's called the International Baccalaureate program. So a very rigorous course load. And he, instead of going to the football game, he stayed home and was concentrating on his work. And it's not to say that he wasn't a social kid. He still went out and did his social things with his friends. But where, a lot of kids were out doing whatever the heck they wanted, he had his nose to the grindstone and really trying to excel in every one of these classes and move towards getting a what's called an IB diploma. At the end of your IB courses, you then have this, you have all of these projects due, and then you have this IB test that determines. So you can go through all of these IB courses and actually never get the IB diploma, because it all depends on this test.
Okay.
So having said that, he's doing all this work, and just you get super excited, right? You're a mom, you're a dad, you're like, oh my gosh, he's going to go to prom, and I'm going to get the prom pictures, and he's going to get his senior pictures, and then commencement is coming, and I don't know if you guys have this, but they go back to their elementary schools and they have their clap out where the seniors walk through it's just all these huge rites of passage, right? I went to my senior prom. I went to my commencement ceremony. It was kind of a cool thing to, hear your name announced and walk across the stage and physically receive that diploma. All things that I wanted so badly for my kid. And I wanted it for him, and I wanted it for me. I'm like, it's been almost 18 years of science fair projects and PTA meetings, and it all comes down to this final moment of commencement. And then he starts his new journey with college. So all this is happening, and Corona hits, and it starts to become very apparent that all of these things are most likely not going to happen. And this is definitely not what I envisioned for my son. It's definitely not what I envisioned for us. Like, I have two littles. I wanted my littles to see their brother graduate, and kind of show them how cool this is, and the ceremony and all of that. And we finally got the word, just prior to me doing the live, the day before, we got the word that, school was not going back, which we all kind of assumed, but there was like that finite decision.
We're hoping.
That it wasn't, yeah. Yes. And then we got the email that said, we're clearly going to be looking at his school went and gave postponed dates. So we had our original dates for prom and commencement, and they gave us these postponed dates, which I thought was amazing. Like, they'd already planned an entire venue for prom. They already planned the same venue for prom in the future. Like, they had 2 dates scheduled, which I thought was amazingly proactive. But what had happened was, when they send the email out, it said, and these are the postponed dates, and we will do our best we've got great planning committees, and they will do their best to put something together with social distancing. And that's when my heart sank. And I was like, oh my gosh, like these aren't postponed dates. These are postponed dates, but still maintaining the social distancing, still dealing with COVID. Even though they're in the future, we know that this is a long road. We still, there's a long road ahead of us. So I'm like, how the heck do you have a problem with social distancing? Like, how do you have a commencement where you have a bunch of people in a large theater, in a large venue, side by side, kids in a group walking across the stage? That's not the way this is going to happen. Mm-hmm. And I went, oh my gosh. So it took me an entire 24 hours to wrap my head around what this looked like. And I got to the point where it was brewing and it was brewing and it was brewing. And I could feel the emotion, but I was trying to remain strong for my child, right? He's a teenager. As much as they like to think they're adults, they're still kids. They still lack the ability to process some of these things as a true adult would. And he's incredibly mature, but I'm watching him and his face and the fact that he's struggling with, wow, I'm not going to get a prom. And what does this prom look like? And Mom, like, I don't have my cap and gown. Like, we're not going to have pictures of me in my cap and gown. What does this look like? And I'm like, babe, we're going to do everything we can to make this as normal as we can for you. But in my head, I've got my mom face on, but in my head and my heart, I'm dying inside because I'm like, this isn't happening. So.
And there's nothing you can do about it. It's like out of your control.
No, zero control. And as parents, we want all the control, right? It's the hardest thing to let go of the control with your children. And now you have something affecting them that's beyond your control.
Yes.
So I didn't want my oldest son to see it. I didn't want my littles to see it because if they see mom lose it, like, then their emotions are heightened and they're upset. So I'm like, I got to go in the car. I've got to get in the car. I can't leave. There's nowhere for me to go. I could go and drive around, but I'm like, I'm going to get in the car. And I sat and I'm looking at my phone and, I'm scrolling through and I'm seeing, unfortunately, we know a lot of people that were affected by COVID. We knew a lot of people that had loved ones pass away. We know real estate agents in our community that were struggling with COVID. And they were very quiet about it. And then when they started recovering is when they kind of put it out there that they had been going through it. So a lot of people we knew were affected. And I'm scrolling through and I'm like, I struggled internally. I'm like, here's people losing loved ones. And I'm in my car upset about losing a prom. Like, is that right? Should I be feeling this way? Am I allowed to feel this way? I felt guilty. Like I'm scrolling and I'm seeing someone literally post how sad they are that they just lost their brother to COVID. And I'm in my car, pissed, upset, hurt that I lost prom and commencement. Do I have the right to feel this way? I was so struggling with it that I just opened the phone, typed in what I was feeling and hit the live button and just went live with it. And I thought, if I'm struggling with this, there's got to be someone else struggling with this.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't want to let myself go down the bunny trail where I stayed in that negative mindset and in that hurt, mad, upset mindset. So I figured if I go live, get my feelings out, I now have this level of accountability because once you go live, it's there forever, right? It's out on the internet forever. And I'm like, if it's that accountability that I had my moment, I got my feelings and my frustration out, and now I need to move on. And that sounds crazy when you're all there upset and you have all these emotions that there's this part of your brain that's able to rationalize that, but that's truly what happened. So I went live and I'm expressing this and I thought I could hold it together. I really did. I thought I was going to go on there and be like, help me out. I'm really struggling with this. I feel guilty as heck that there's people losing people, like their mothers, their fathers, their brothers, their sisters. And I'm worried about a prom and my kid's healthy right now. So I start saying this and then the tears start coming and the emotion starts coming out of your face, right? It starts manifesting itself into a physical sense.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm now sobbing. I'm ugly crying on camera. I'm acknowledging that I'm ugly crying on camera. And the most amazing thing happened, Trisha. The messages, the heart emojis, the immediate, and I'm watching the viewership go from 17 to 35 to 38. of live people watching this live. And now I'm starting to get even more self-conscious. I'm sitting here sobbing. I'm telling my truth to everybody watching. And then it dawned on me, I'm like, if people are watching this, there's people out there that are this is resonating with, and they're like, oh my gosh. And that's exactly what happened. The messages started coming in, and it said, you have every right to feel this way. And people messaging saying, I feel this way, and I didn't know how to process it, and I felt like everybody else had it together, and I was the one in my room crying. And they just felt like it gave them the sense of community. We have this community of people that were like, I feel the same way. I feel guilty because people are losing loved ones, but I feel really horrible for my child, and really horrible for themselves because they've waited for this moment, this big moment where their kid graduates, and they finally get that little pat on the back that says, you did it, you got them through it, right? And it's like taken away. So I vented, I got my feelings out, and I quite literally had to kind of abruptly end the video because it just got to the point where I was like, okay, guys, like, you know, if this is you're not alone. And I hope that this helped somebody know that they're not alone. And I know now that I got all this out, that I'm going to turn off the camera. I'm going to wipe the eyes. I'm going to sniff it in, right? And I'm going to turn around and go back in the house and be the mom that I need to be for my senior, for my littles, and hold it together and move forward. I need to have that moment of release. And I encourage anybody that's watching right now that whenever you have disappointments and struggles, or something that you weren't expecting, have your moment. Because if you don't allow yourself to have your moment, it is going to come out eventually. And a lot of times it comes out in anger. It comes out in displaced anger at other people that don't deserve the emotion that's coming out of you. And you're just deflecting, right? And you're displacing that emotion. So have your moment, allow yourself to have the moment, and then allow yourself to move on from it. Too often as parents, we try to shove it down. Business owners, we shove it down. Leaders in the community, we shove it down. If you don't allow yourself those minutes to just have the moment, have the emotion come out and move forward, it's going to come out eventually, and it's probably going to come out in a negative way. And that was my semi-positive way of getting it out. And it was the accountability for me to remind myself that, Renee, you've had that moment. You've expressed those feelings. You know how it felt. And now you need to do whatever it takes to move on from it and help your kid get through the emotions that they may be having. And it's not to say that I won't have another moment. It's just that it was that accountability that I needed for myself to know that I was validated in what I was feeling.
Yeah.
That I was allowed to feel what I was feeling, and now I have the ability to move on from it.
So did you feel better afterwards? Did you feel like that was awesome and I felt relieved? Was that the moment?
I felt because of the amount of messages that were popping up on the screen, and you're not, obviously I'm crying, so I'm just seeing words flash, as they're going by. It gave me something to refer back to after it posted, and it took me a while to actually my husband had gotten a notification that I had gone live, and he came out into the garage and was like, oh my gosh, like what's going on?
Right in the garage.
Right. But he got it. And he gave me this huge hug. When I got out of the car, he gave me this huge hug, and he's like, you ready to go back in? I'm like, yeah, I think I am. And then he was the one that came to me. He goes, Renee, he goes, I really think you need to go back and look at your feed. And I'm like, okay. And I did. And I went back and I started seeing the messages. And then I started getting private messages. And then I started getting text messages. And I was on a live with Joel Hollow yesterday. And I kind of explained this. And the community that was built out of it was, I literally have moms texting me going, oh my gosh, like I feel the same way. What can we do? Here's the cool thing. So this is not because of me. It's not because I was crying on camera, but because these seniors have not been recognizing them, because they're going to be missing all this, our school district, the city that I grew up in, Brunswick, the school district somebody's brainchild. And I don't know if they took it from someone else and emulated it or modeled it, or if they thought of it themselves, but they created an Adopt a Senior program.
Oh,
where,
wow.
where anyone in the community can adopt a senior. So folks just put up a picture of their senior on this particular Facebook site, and they say, hey, this is my senior. This is what they are into. This is what they've been striving to do up until this point. They like Reese's peanut butter cups. They like, whatever things they're kind of cool and interested in. And then somebody in the community has the option to adopt one of them, and then just send them a care package saying, you're not getting the recognition that you deserve, and I want to recognize you. Is that the coolest thing?
Yeah, that's super cool.
So I then had a bunch of people reaching out going, can I adopt your son? Can I adopt your son? And, I mean, just absolutely amazing. And I had no idea that that's what was going to come of it. But yeah, it has made me feel better. And then I actually got up the courage to show my son the video.
So what did he think about it?
Yeah. He I think he was pleased to know that I was feeling some of the emotions that he was feeling, that he was trying to be strong about. And it gave him permission to feel that way as well. So no matter how much you feel like you're letting your kids know, like, I get it, I know that you're upset, but we gotta, you always try to push them, like, we gotta move forward. And
right.
It gave him permission to feel the way that he was feeling as well. And then he looked up and he's like, thanks, Mom. Thanks for everything you said. Yeah. So a lot of good came from me blubbering on camera.
But it was real. You exposed yourself.
Yeah, and I think that especially if you're in any type of position of leadership, or if you're running a team in real estate, or people start looking at you almost like you're kind of a robot, if that makes any sense, like, because you're the one driving the bus all the time. You're the one going, okay, we got to keep this together, and you got to pick yourself back up, and you got to keep moving. And people start losing that human to human kind of thought process about who you are, and it kind of just let people know that you're a human being, and that you have feelings, that you have emotions too, and that you're just like them. So I think it brought something to people that says, oh my gosh, like, she's living a true life. Often they see all the lives where we're doing, oh, this listing just went live, and oh, we just closed on these buyers, and hey, look, we're doing this program, and hey, I'm interviewing this awesome person in the community, and they stop seeing you. They almost start seeing you as an anchor person and not necessarily as a human being, right? Yes. And I think it just brought they're like, wow, she's human, she's real, she's got these emotions too. And so it was therapeutic, to say the least. I appreciate you.
I was going to say, because, you hear of those moments sometimes, and I think we've all had them, where we have this like built up anger or frustration or whatever, and finally we explode. And it's sometimes, like you said, displaced anger, and we yell at somebody, or we just have a total mental breakdown and we just sit and sob and cry. But then when we do that, it's almost like, okay, now I can move forward. It's almost like you're crippled until you do that. Did you find that kind of that moment for you then?
Yeah. So because it's always on the back of your mind.
Yeah.
So you're going through the motions, doing whatever it is that you're doing, and running a business and talking to buyers and sellers, and then but it's always in the back of your mind. It's kind of eating away at you. Mm-hmm. So I mean, getting that out was a huge release.
Yes.
And support. And then you have all these people that have these expectations of you as well, right? Mm-hmm. They're expecting you to be available. They're expecting you to always have the answer. They're expecting you to guide them and lead them. And then when they see something like that, it's almost like they kind of give you a reprieve, if that makes sense. They give you the latitude and say, oh my gosh, I never even thought about what they might have been going through. I never thought that they might be going through their own things. And truly, everybody's going through their own things, yes. Right? We always have to ask, what could this mean? Mm-hmm. When somebody's lashing out at you and you can't figure out why, you should be thinking, what else can this mean? What else are they going through to be treating me like this? Mm-hmm. We too often get defensive, and it's like, whoa, why are you coming at me that way? Or, and I didn't do anything to you. And we don't stop to think, what else can this mean? I'm so grateful to my coach, John Kitchen, because he constantly reminds me that, what else could this mean, Renee? If somebody's not performing at the level you think they should be performing at, what else could this mean? If they're not doing the things, that they should be doing, what else could this mean? And it kind of let me know that, hey, if Renee's not responding to me in the 2 minutes that she usually responds to me, there must be something going on. And I think it just brought that kind of to the table that, I too deal with things, and sometimes we just need to be given that latitude.
So after that moment and you got to talk to your son and everything, did you come up with kind of a plan B as to how you're going to have those things that you feel you don't have now?
Yeah. So we actually just kind of flipped it. We said, look, how this prom works out and how this commencement works out is beyond our control. We are not part of the planning committee. We could absolutely be, but we're not. And we said, okay, what can we control? And that was, we immediately went and said, okay, we got to make these decisions for college. And that was a whole nother emotional thing. Like, we now have to make decisions to potentially send our children away to schools that we've never had the opportunity to visit. I've never got to examine the environment that I'm going to be putting my child in, because you can't visit them.
No.
We were able to do it virtually or through pictures or through interviews from whatever's on their websites. But now I need to make a decision. Is my child moving 2 hours away, 5 hours away? What are they moving into? I've never seen the environment. I don't understand the vibe. You're trying to, thank God we have all the tools we have. Hello, friend. I love it.
This big face comes to the screen.
See, this is real life, guys. This is real life. This is what I'm talking about. This is the realism that you get to see.
That's too funny.
So yeah, we just started focusing on college, and I'm super excited. Last night, my son made his decision on what college he's going to go to. I won't share that yet because he hasn't publicly announced where he's going to go.
And he's comfortable
registered him
without going and seeing it and everything.
He decided that he was going to take the time that he could and research everything he possibly could about the schools that he was accepted in, and he says, Mom, I'm really, it keeps pulling me towards the school. Like, I'm excited about, every time I pull something else up about the school, it excites me. And he made the decision last night, and we registered, and we ordered our sweatshirts. And that's what you got to do, right? So he decides what school he goes to, and now you got to wear color.
Yeah. So, okay. It's like, it's almost like you grieved what you lost, per se, what you thought was supposed to happen. And it was supposed to happen. That's what normally happens traditionally in all the years of schooling. That's what you do. And now you didn't get to do it. So it's like that moment in your car was like your grieving moment. It's like almost like a death kind of thing, and you then move forward. And it's like, okay, I accept it now. It is what it is. Okay, now what do we do? Now we have to make a decision. We have to do something. We have to take action. And that's what you did. And it's awesome.
Exactly. You couldn't have said it better, Trisha. It was absolutely the stages of grief. And I even said that on the video. I'm like, maybe tomorrow I'll be in acceptance, and I won't be in anger and denial and, being mad and sad. And yeah, have I 100% accepted it? No. Is it still this little needle, this thorn in my side that I'll be robbed of some of those things, and he'll be robbed of some of those things? Yes. But we had to focus, like you said, take action, focus on the things we can control. Don't focus on the things we can't, and move forward and support one another. So we decided what college, he decided what college he's going to go to. To support him, we're like, okay, we're going to order the sweatshirts so that we're representing the school that you're going to. And, we sat down and figured out a literal business plan on, how much of this are we going to be able to help him out with? How much is he going to have to maintain on his own? It's just a really positive teaching moment, to be honest with you. So
life will go on. We will move forward, and he will, and you will.
Yeah. Exactly. And then, so now you guys got to wait for all the lives of me like gushing about my kid going to college and all that stuff. But it's real life.
It
And
is.
that's, that's the beauty about what you're doing, Trisha, with interviewing all these people across the country. Everybody's experiencing something different. We are all seeing that thing that's going around the internet right now, or Facebook and social media, that we're all in the same boat. We're really not all in the same boat. We're all in the same storm, but our boats are totally different.
100%.
Yeah, we just need to understand what those boats look like and how we can support each other in the storm and move forward. So I thank you for bringing positivity to everyone every morning.
Thank you.
From different from truly these different spirits that have been put in your path, and it's been truly amazing. So I'm honored to be on gushing about my blubbering on a live Facebook feed. So
And I said this to Mike Wall yesterday when we weren't live, when we were just talking. I was like, the beauty of when you look at like the beauty of all of this, like you and I having a conversation, he and I yesterday, and our friendship, that we have like this amazing, intense friendship across the United States. And at the common denominator of all of it is EXP. Do you realize that? How crazy that is?
I
wouldn't know
was
you otherwise.
acutely aware of it the other day based on the messages I was receiving from all over the country. It became so apparent to me. And they're these huge, deep, like if something traumatic happened in these people's lives, to be like, okay, like, can I book a flight? Can I get there? How long will it take me to drive there? What can I do? And we would have never known each other if it weren't for the community of EXP. And I am so grateful, from Mike Wall to you to Nikki Gregory to I mean, there's just so
like
many people. Through the power of Facebook, through the power of social media, I feel like I get to be part of your guys' lives on a regular basis, and get to know you even further. And then when we do see each other, it's like we're long lost brothers and sisters. It's like this really weird, it's so hard to explain. You cannot truly understand it until you experience it.
No,
so if you're out there looking for your people, like, I'm telling you, if you get accepted into this group of people, it's like nothing you've ever experienced before.
Life changing.
It really is. It's so hard to like translate it through words. You're like, you just have to experience it. You just got to be one of us, and then you'll get it.
Yeah. Like right now, you and I were talking before we went live. We're supposed to be together right now at Shareholders. We all were,
I know. And I saw Nikki's post this morning and her pictures, and Beth Ann did pictures of other things that we've come together on, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, I don't get to see you guys. And we always have the best stories after we go. We come back and go, I cannot believe that happened. Yes. I cannot believe we went to that place, or we got to see that person. Right. I got to sit next to that person and have coffee and chat with them. Like, it's amazing. And I'm like, I love those stories. So now we get to do all these things virtually. They're doing an amazing job holding these events online. We still get to connect with each other and ask questions. And I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for accepting me into your world. And we didn't know each other. Yeah. And you've been so helpful. And just, when I've brought people into my organization, and, maybe they're in Texas or whatever, you've been so gracious to say, hey, I'll take them under my wing if I can help in any way. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here with me today. I think I know there's so many people out there, so many moms, so many dads that do feel like they are upset and they're angry. And I hope that this has made some kind of a difference in them. And because it's a hard thing, it's about to be May, and a lot of kids are supposed to graduate at the end of May or first part of June. So I'm sure there's a lot of pinned up, resentment and anger right now. And so I hope this resonates with a lot of people, and they kind of can take steps to help them get through it.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, if they're not friends with me on Facebook, my page is a public page. You can go on and watch me blubber all you want and say, you know what, oh my gosh, like, that's how I feel right now. I'm not going to put it on live TV, but
Renee, tell everybody how to find you, please.
Yeah, you can connect with me on Facebook. Renee Sherry Velasquez is who I am on Facebook. You can connect with me on Instagram. I'm Renee, the RSVP group. You can private message me, call me, reach out to Trisha. She can get you my number. Whatever you guys need, I'm happy to help in any way that I can. And anyone watching here, obviously you're part of Trisha's tribe, and that is a coveted spot that you should know that that's an amazing tribe to be in, and you are truly blessed to have her by your side with whatever it is that you do.
Thank you. So
You're
glad
so
you're here today.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful morning and the rest of your weekend. And every day is a new day, and the world is opening up, day by day. And hopefully we get back to whatever our new normal is. And just know that whatever you feel at the moment, you have the right to feel, and have the moment, move forward, and take action.
I love it. Way to go. That was awesome. Thank you, Renee. Have a great weekend. I will talk to you soon.
Bye, dear.
Bye, guys.